Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC, and get over here, Sal. We're talking about Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
All right, so if you missed the memo, Mortal Kombat came out with a reboot to the franchise.
Kombat!
Friday, and it was on HBO Max. You could watch it if you got a subscription. Sal and I both watched the movie. So, little background. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat lore fan. I've read the comics. I played all the games. I've loved it before the reboot, which was 9, and then after the reboot, which is 9. And in the game lore, we've had 9, 10, and 11. Now, as a fan of the games, this felt like the most game-accurate version of this plot ever. So I have opinions, but what is yours? Because you're not a super Mortal Kombat lore fan.
I am not. I'm not much of a video game guy, but I did play the first 3 Mortal Kombats. I enjoyed them to the degree I could. I did not enjoy them when I was playing against people because they're cheap and they spam the sweep kick button, and they're, of course...
Which happened in the movie!
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that there were a lot of moments in this movie that played to my recollection of the franchise, which is those 3 games and the first 2 movies, one of which I remember very well, the other of which I think is still hot garbage. And
Annihilation? Please tell me you're thinking of... Okay, just making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, no, it was, and then after seeing this, I thought, maybe I prefer the schlock, and then I rewatched some of Annihilation. I'm like, no, this was much better. This is genuinely better than anything Annihilation had. I'm watching that scene where, they all have, Shao Kahn is like, okay, I got my skull mask on. I'm like, okay, no, this is objectively better than Annihilation. This is actually a movie.
Yeah.
But I don't have it. And then I found out there's all this lore and oh, did you know about so-and-so's brother and this person's lineage? And I'm like, no.
I could spew so much Mortal Kombat lore to you. It's not even funny. Yeah. Because they cleaned it all up as the years went on. I mean, it really was just how do we get people to fight? And if you look at a lot of the original lore, it was just to get them to fight.
Yeah.
But as they went to 9, they started doing that huge cinematic thing, which I know you've played Injustice. It started with 9.
Well, I didn't just play that. I played Mortal Kombat versus DC,
right,
the predecessor to Injustice, which actually had that lore stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest issue I have with this movie is it feels like we got a rushed 30 minutes of lore building, new characters in the Cole Young character, establishing Sub-Zero, Scorpion, building the entire universe that they're building a franchise out of in 30 to 45 minutes, and then it's just rapid fire fights.
Yes.
Now, I loved that it was just rapid fire fights. I'm going to go watch a Mortal Kombat movie. I want to see them fight. It's like when someone goes, well, I want to go see King Kong and Godzilla to watch the human interactions. No. I want to see King Kong and Godzilla fight. I want to go see Transformers to see the Transformers, and I want to go see Mortal Kombat to see guys with weird powers hitting each other.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and here's the thing, is it's obviously creating a cinematic universe, or at the very least they want to create a Mortal Kombat franchise. They don't need Sub-Zero spin-offs, but you just Mortal Kombat 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 12. I get it. And that makes sense. And what they did with this movie was economical and smart, because it trimmed down the cast, but it established characters from across the assortment. You're okay, right, Liu Kang and Kung Lao, he doesn't show up till 3. And right? And Reptile, he doesn't even become a guy who looks like Scorpion. What the hell? But okay, Reptile though. And
he actually doesn't anymore, but yes, you're right. Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, I grew up, my guys, Ermac, Reptile, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Noob Saibot, they all just look like Scorpion, but with different color outfits on.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong. And I do like how Scorpion straight up looks different in this one. He looks like the more current Scorpion, which is the hoodie and everything like that. And I like how his face peeled back to do the skull. He's supposed to. Funny?
Tiffany and I were watching this, and he gets to do, and we're like, oh my god, do you think he's going to do his fatality? But he needs to have a skull face to do a face. Oh, here comes the skull face!
So I don't know. I loved the way they handled it. I do like the movie rules they made for movie viewers, like the Arcana. They've never established why people can do these crazy abilities. Nope. And in 2 lines, they're like, if you have an Arcana, you can do crazy abilities.
Worked for me.
Oh, cool. All right, I got it.
Yep. Well, because, I was thinking back to the first Mortal Kombat movie, which was very much like a trial and error experiment kind of thing, which had not very good fight scenes in them because none of the actors outside of Liu Kang could fight. But I liked the kind of idea that, the humans who are fighting the Outworlders, like the humans didn't have like powers unless they were like pushed to their absolute limits, and maybe like the nature of being part of the tournament gives them powers. Like Johnny Cage gets a shadow kick. Liu Kang at the very last second can do a fireball. But I kind of liked that they were like, but look, you're not here to do that. You're here to spam attacks, and you want to see Liu Kang just keep making fire. You want to see Sonya Blade shoot the rings of purple energy. Like, you want to see Jax punch with metal arms.
Okay, I don't know what they were thinking making Jax have these little twigs.
I don't understand that either.
What was that?
Like, his Arcana is more metal arms? Does that mean that if he didn't lose his arms, they would have just had metal arms over them?
They're building the arms, and Natalie's like, what happened to him? I'm like, oh, he's gonna get metal arms. It's cool. And then he shows up. She's like, is that it? I'm like, I don't know what the twigs are. I don't know what the twigs are.
Because Jax can shoot energy out of the metal arms. I was hoping that it was going to be that he could. No, you get the arms. Those are free. But then your power is you could shoot purple energy out of them. But no, it's just that they get bigger. And I'm like, I'm glad they're bigger, but I feel like there could have been more there. But that's but leading up to that though, when he's like, Jack's like, I'll fight Sub-Zero. I'm like, I think we all know what's about to happen to Jax's arms.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. Natalie, he's like, I'm gonna fight Sub-Zero. I'm like, yeah, he's about to lose those arms, so don't be surprised.
Those arms are gonna get frozen right off his body. And indeed they were.
The costumes I thought were great. I loved Cabal. I felt was the most weird looking, but worked.
I couldn't believe Cabal was in the movie. I see Cabal and I'm like, oh my God, is that Cabal? And I mentioned this only because Cabal was my guy. Like, my Mortal Kombat 3, I think Cabal shows up, and I just loved Cabal because he looked so crazy.
Yeah.
And I loved his attack. He could spin. Like, he ran past you, he turned you into a thing, and then he uppercutted you. And he had those little hook things. For me, I'm like, Cabal! And he has this hilarious voice. I'm like, all right, Cabal.
I mean, at the end of the day, the fact is, the stories, it serves the plot to get them to fight. My biggest complaint was the plot seemed to move very quickly once we established the lore. Like, it was doing a good job with pacing until we got to the temple. Then we had a training montage that got interrupted. Everyone jumps into the void, and they're immediately like, all right, you guys ready to go back and fight these guys one-on-one? I'm like, wait, we didn't do anything. Yeah, no, we're just going back. Okay.
No, it's like, Shang Tsung's a cheater. Let's cheat too. Okay, let's have unofficial fights where we kill Shang Tsung's guys. That's what this whole movie is. And that was kind of disappointing. Like, I felt like if you're watching a Mortal Kombat movie and you're a fan, you don't need a scene to explain who these people are. And if you're watching this Mortal Kombat movie and you're not a fan, you still don't need a scene to explain who these people are because you're watching a Mortal Kombat movie. You want to watch. You know how you're going to learn who these people are? When they fight the people they're going to fight, and then when they're licking their wounds, they interact with each other. You know, like, by the way, I'm Jax. I've got metal arms. Oh, cool. That's nice. I'm Sonya Blade. We work together. Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. And like, oh, well, what about me? I'm Liu Kang. I'm Milquetoast. Yeah, right. We know. Like, that's all we get. Like, that's all we need.
He's been a zombie for like 4 games for the record.
I know. I
they
heard
won't
all about
bring him back.
Just bring him back. Move on. Liu Kang's the protagonist of Mortal Kombat, for God's sake. But like, but I loved the opening, like establishing like this kind of. What's funny is, you get this really cool like flashback to like feudal Japan. You got like Scorpion and his family, and Sub-Zero shows up, and he's speaking Chinese, and he's attacking Scorpion, and he's like, I'm gonna do this shit. And Scorpion's like, I don't even know what you're talking about because I don't speak Chinese. And you're like, what is this? Like, if you're going to go back far enough to go to feudal Japan, go back a little further and show me why Sub-Zero is attacking him.
I 100% agree with you with that because, like, I had to explain to Natalie. She's like, why are they attacking? I'm like, if they're keeping to the lore, Scorpion attacked his clan first. It's a clan versus clan thing.
Oh.
But like, they don't establish that. They even call out the clans at the ending. Like,
yes, they do.
I can't ever pronounce it properly, but it's like the Shirai Ryu or Ryu, the Shirai Ryu, and then Bihan's clan. They call them out. Like, it's a clan versus clan thing. It's been going on for centuries, and I'm like, you never once named the clans until now.
No. I think they mention them while they're fighting, but even then, like, I don't know what that means. Like, if you're gonna show me where their blood feud starts, show me why. Because you know what's great? All of that. Like, we show that Scorpion's weapons come from gardening tools. Like, that's really a cool idea. Like, that's a fun lore kind of explanation.
That's the best part about Mortal Kombat. There is lore to everyone and why they end up at the tournament. And I felt like this movie was trying to give us that. It was like, okay, so Bihan and Scorpion, they're going to be fighting. That's going to be the Scorpion Sub-Zero that you all want. Jax and Sonya, they work together against Kano. So we got both of them. We're establishing Black Dragons, and then Cabal's going to be wrapped in with Kano. So we got that tied up together. Awesome. Here's Kung Lao, and here's Liu Kang, and we're going to explain. Like, they brought in everyone who mattered to tie together. Then they just threw in some random ones like Natara and Reiko. And I was like, the characters
why
that
is Shang
died.
Tsung so in on her? Like, it's like, she's got wings. I'm like, yeah, I know, but so you got people who can open their mouths all the way down to their chest. Like, why do you care so much about this one character who has wings that I don't even recognize?
I had to Google to see if she was even in the games. I did not remember her.
I was like, who is this character? And why is Shang Tsung all in on her? Because all she does is fly. That's it. Like this. I mean, I guess that's cool, but is it as cool as anything else anybody else here does? Like, is it as cool as Sub-Zero, who is the bad guy of this movie? He's the main bad guy of this movie.
Well, it's funny because I was looking at a meme and it just showed, it was like the one with Patrick and SpongeBob in the distance.
Yes.
And the meme is like Sub-Zero the whole movie, and it's Patrick's being like, he hasn't done anything, but he's just menacingly staring at me.
Yeah.
That's all he would do. He'd just show up and be like, I'm freezing everything around you. Are you afraid?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when
he was at the door, and the
wife was like,
I was like, it's Jason. They're doing Friday. It's Jason. Friday the 13th just happened in this movie.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that is cool, but I don't know. I always found it weird whenever anybody and this is going into the games too, where anybody was like, yo, this one particular character who is never that big of a deal is actually the biggest of deals. Like, I never got into Sub-Zero being in any, when you find out Sub-Zero has a brother and he's cool and he doesn't have a face mask, I'm like, I don't care about any of that.
Well, when they put him back in the outfit, it made far more sense.
Yeah. Right.
But, for those who don't know the ongoing story, Bihan does get defeated in the first actual Mortal Kombat game, and in the second one, his brother comes back as the new Sub-Zero to redeem the clan.
Yes.
So Bihan comes back as a noob Saibot.
Oh,
he's the shadowy ninja.
Oh, is he noob? That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you see the code in the warehouse on the wall in graffiti? It was down, forward, low punch. And Tiffany paused it. She's like, down, forward. What's LP? I'm like, low punch. That's how you do the Sub-Zero move. Because we were literally we were watching the movie this is so stupid. And she's like, do you even like Mortal Kombat? And I'm like, I mean, I played them and everything. And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, that's Sub-Zero's move. They're like, oh, suddenly I care.
What I loved about it, being a fan of Mortal Kombat, they did so many of the brutalities, the fatalities, the X-ray moves.
Liu Kang got the dragon move. I'm like, cool.
They did their moves. It wasn't like they half-assed it or went little in. They did their moves. And as much as I wanted more story and lore, I didn't go into the Mortal Kombat movie expecting some deep dive into the lore and that it was going to be some cinematic masterpiece. I went into the Mortal Kombat.
This is Red Cliff with powers.
I'm the guy who likes the Transformers movies as a popcorn watching robots fight movie.
Yes.
I went into Mortal Kombat expecting to see Mortal Kombat fights with moves, and I got more than I was expecting.
This is true.
I really did enjoy this movie. And we got to the ending of it, and I'm like, I want it too. I want to see what's next. They imply Johnny Cage, man.
I know. Yeah, but who cares? Who are they going to get? What stunt actor are they going to get for Johnny Cage that will make it in any way exciting?
Tom Cruise.
Right, Tom Cruise. Hey, I can't believe they put Goro in this movie. By the way, they kind of wasted him, but Goro got in here, and he was cool.
They set it up perfectly because a lot of what happens after Mortal Kombat 1 is because Prince Goro's death.
Right.
So by getting him in the movie and killed, they're doing some of the lore, just like Scorpion coming back from the dead and then wandering off. Mm-hmm. That is a part of Scorpion. Even in the comics and in the games, Scorpion's around and he helps out the heroes, but he's not really a good guy. He's kind of an undead hell warrior just wandering the world.
Because for me, I'm like, you went to hell. You're not a good guy. I've never expected Scorpion to help out the good guys. So this is kind of a fun surprise for me.
Well, I don't know why. That's how he does it in the games too. He does that. He just wanders around helping, but he's not a part of. That's why I liked the fact they brought up his lineage because okay, so you've got the Scorpion hero.
Yes.
And we get actual anti-hero Scorpion walking around burning people.
Totally. That's fine. The only thing I was wondering was, well, why does he say get over here in English, but everything else in Japanese?
Because it had to be done. Because
he had to say get over here.
You had to say it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. No complaints. If he didn't say, my only complaint, I will say this, because like I was like, this is fine. Like, whatever. What am I going to complain about? Sonya Blade's actor, not great. You know, like that was one complaint I had. Another one, I wanted a pure, straight up, the techno song Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And we got like the funny like do 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 do. We got the Boston Symphony Orchestra to do, you know, the Mortal Kombat theme or whatever. But like the end credits had this like weird remix of the theme, and I'm like, this is no. Just don't mess with the classics. Just
they should have just grabbed the classic, thrown it in there.
Just play that while the movie didn't do it, I did. Every time they introduced a character, I would say their name like the video where it's like Kuno, Liu Kang.
I also liked that they did say fatality.
Yeah.
I was like, yes!
Yeah, fatality, flawless victory.
Yeah.
We got Kung Lao got his saw hat move. Like everyone got their move.
Yeah, it was awesome. Our chat is saying that they would love to see Chris Pratt as Johnny Cage. I think he'd be the best Johnny Cage ever.
He would be a great Johnny Cage. The only problem is he would be the only actor who can't fight.
You're not wrong.
Because everyone in this movie is cast to be able to fight, which is why I'm going to give Sonya a pass, because she does the moves. She's not very good, but like I have no complaints about it, because what am I expecting from Sonya Blade? The last one was Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison, so I got no complaints either. But like,
I'm happy they did that. They got actual fighters. You felt like you were watching them fight. It didn't feel like and the stunt double came in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I had fun watching this movie. It's silly, but it also, the thing that I was concerned about, because like when I saw Warcraft, because like my wife played a lot of World of Warcraft until the pandas. Then she was like, I'm out. But that's
my exact jumping off point too. I've tried to go back and like, that's a panda running around. I'm good.
But we saw Warcraft in the theater, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, I hated that movie, and there's just so much GD lore, and it's just like they're like, here's some more stuff, and I'm like, shut up. Are you gonna tell a story at some point in this friggin' thing? Like with Mortal Kombat, I was very concerned they were gonna be like, so, because I know there's a ton of lore. There's 11 games, not including all the spin-offs and everything. So like I get it, but I was really expecting them to be like, okay, we got like some mega nerd to be like the creative consultant on this picture. So we got lots of different like heavy-handed lore, we found out who Scorpion is. We know a little bit about Sub-Zero, the tournament, and there's a kinship between Liu Kang and Kung Lao. That's kind of it. Like we don't need a lot. And that's what I'm asking for.
You did need a lot to get this started, which is what I appreciate that they did. They did establish enough that we understand the concepts of Mortal Kombat. Yeah. But I was even reading interviews. They had other characters cast in it, like Rain and stuff like that. But they didn't want to bloat the movie. Down. And I'm like, that's such a good idea to just give us a couple good fights, establish the characters in the whole world, and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be smarter because you're economical. Your next movie, you could put another group of fighters, and you can guarantee a sequel as opposed to, I hope we get one. We spent $600 million on a Mortal Kombat movie. I don't know why we can't get a sequel. Like, no, Mortal Kombat should cost $40 million because it's just a bunch of fighters who are all just desperate for work anyway. You shoot them like a kung fu action movie, so you get all the shots and you move on, and then you give it to a hungry, desperate CG team to make the moves look cool. Like, that's it.
It has already broken even. Its budget was $55 million, and its opening weekend of just theater, not HBO Max, however they quantify that.
I don't know how.
$50 million. So,
okay. All right, it's got to make another 50, but it's been open weekend, so
yeah.
So I think it's going to do fine. And good.
I'm excited. I want to see more of this. I really do. I'd love to see where they're going to go with it. I mean, I've seen a lot of reviews where people are like, well, they didn't establish a lot of lore. They just got to jump to the fights and they moved on from there. It was Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Like, when they make the Last of Us movie, we can talk about the narrative and the plot. Okay?
Yes. Right. Yeah. No, a BioShock movie had better be deep and cool.
Yeah. But the Mortal Kombat movie had better establish what's going on and then fight.
Yeah. Who are they and why are they fighting? Cool. Moving on. Like, I just want to know who to root for.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our opinions. Let me know what you think about Mortal Kombat down below, because it seems to be very divisive. Like, the fans are like jumping in and either really loving it or really against it. So I'm curious because I've heard people going back and forth on this one. So let us know in the comments down below. And thank you so much for joining us today. This is Absolutely Marvel and DC and Mortal Kombat. We'll see you guys next time.